What's going on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch? This show is days overdue. Finally, we're going to talk about the hometown team, Atlanta Falcons. I actually planned on doing the show last week, but sorry for the delay. But we're here talking about them now. They're going to be number 8 on the board 2 weeks from Thursday. But before we get into the conversation about the Atlanta Falcons, let's do a quick preview and get a small intro to the Atlanta Falcons. Welcome to another episode of All In with Nate. In today's episode, we're going to do a special episode talking about the 2022 Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons entered this offseason with 9 draft picks, and they've had a major turnover coming off of a 7-10 record in 2021 under first-year head coach Arthur Smith and first-year GM Terry Fontenot. The Atlanta Falcons will look to build off of it. They lost franchise quarterback Matt Ryan in a trade to the Indianapolis Colts, and they are going to move on to the Marcus Mariota era. Today, we're going to talk about what are the Falcons' top needs, what are they going to do with those picks in the draft, and much more, including my own live mock draft during this stream. Up next on the stream is the hometown team, the Atlanta Falcons. All right, as I mentioned, the Atlanta Falcons are first up on the stream. Hold on, before I go to this, let's get to the comments. Sharpay, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, I'm live again, finally. And I got to hop in there. I'm going to definitely get on there sometime soon. I haven't forgot about the stream. I haven't forgot about it. But on to the Atlanta Falcons. Before I really get into their draft needs, this is going to be honest, as a diehard Atlanta Falcons fan, we need everything. I'm not even going to go ahead and sugarcoat this. There's not a position that the Atlanta Falcons do not address in this draft or even in the offseason not named tight end. Because the only thing I can surefire say to you going forward is we have a solid stud in Kyle Pitts. We have a stud in AJ Terrell. So those guys are 2 guys you can build around for the future. But as far as the Atlanta Falcons, they need everything. That's just the truth. But I had to come up with my top couple of needs for the Falcons. And my top needs that I have listed right now is wide receiver, pass rusher, quarterback, defensive tackle, and tight end. Now, my number one need is the wide receiver position simply because we don't have a lot of talent at wide receiver. Right now, our wide receiver depth is Olamide Zaccheaus. We signed Amir Byrd. We signed Auden Tate. We signed Kadaro Hodge, if I got his name wrong, correct me, from the Detroit Lions. But the Falcons don't have a lot of weapons in that receiving core. And with Calvin Ridley being suspended for a full season, you don't have a lot of depth for Marcus Mariota to use going forward into this first season with the Atlanta Falcons. And this is Arthur Smith's second season. And you don't really have a receiver outside of Kyle Pitts. And you don't want to find yourself in a position like you were last year where the Falcons couldn't get anybody open. Because there was a certain point that Russell Gage was your only receiver outside of Kyle Pitts, and even he had moments where he couldn't get open. The Falcons have to address getting a wide receiver in this draft. Now, there are a lot of mock drafts that have the Falcons taking a Garrett Wilson or Drake London in the first round at number 8. I personally wouldn't take a wide receiver at number 8, but I wouldn't be mad at them for doing it, if that makes sense. I wouldn't be mad at them for doing it because the simple thing for the Falcons is they need talent everywhere. It's not a position really that you can sit here and say the Falcons are stacked at this position, because it's none. This is probably one of the least talented teams in football. They don't have a lot of cap space. So wide receiver, to me, it is a potential number one need. However, I feel that the Falcons could also shy away from it until day number 2. I don't feel that they need to jump at number 8 to get a wide receiver. Yes, I like Garrett Wilson out of Ohio State. Yes, I like Chris Olave out of Ohio State. But I feel like there are guys in the second round like a Sky Moore, a Christian Watson, a George Pickens, those guys, like you can get Mechie in day number 3 because he's coming off of an injury. And Jamison Williams, those guys like that, I would look at later down the board. I wouldn't rush getting a wide receiver at number 8. And see, that's what I'm scared of for the Atlanta Falcons. I do not want them to sit there and try to jump at a wide receiver. And if that wide receiver is going to come out at number 8, you got to make sure he's going to produce day one. So do not be surprised if the Falcons do take him at number 8. Cool. No problem with it. However, I feel that the Falcons need to go another direction in regards to getting a wide receiver in the first round. But go into the comments to see. Funny joke, Byron. That's why Michigan lost to UGA. And I'm not talking about Madden right now. Darius said, to be honest, if we were to have another losing season, I see them getting rid of Arthur Smith, which will put us in a more deeper hole. I don't feel that you can fire the coach this soon because the Falcons are committing to a rebuild for the first time because you got rid of Matt Ryan. Getting rid of Matt Ryan, getting rid of Julio the year before, you clearly stated, hey, I'm going to go into a rebuild. So the problem is going to be this. You got to get a guy 2 to 3 seasons if you're Arthur Blank to kind of get this thing ready. If there's no progression after year number 3, then I'll move on from him. But I feel like he's got a 2-year window to make something happen. But as I stated before, guys, I think that the Falcons will look at getting help at wide receiver for sure in this draft. If it's not number 8, they're going to address it at they're going to address it at either 38 or the other picks they have in the second round because the Falcons have 5 top 3 round picks. So they got a lot of room to wiggle with to make this thing happen. Let's see what the comments say. Darrell, what's going on, bro? He said, definitely don't need a receiver at 8. Draft the best defensive player available, another corner or pass rusher. We're on the same page in regards to that because this is a very deep defensive draft, and I don't want to sit here and waste a pick on a receiver at number 8 because, to me, the guy that gets picked at number 8 needs to be a game changer from day one, and that's really where my whole thing is. And it's funny that you mentioned pass rusher. That is the second thing on my board, which is the pass rusher. This is one of the things that the Atlanta Falcons have been needing for years. This is not a 2021, 2020 issue. If we're going to be brutally honest about the Atlanta Falcons, the Falcons haven't had a pass rusher since John Abraham, and that was in 2012. We've been looking for a pass rusher since then. Vic Beasley gave us a flash here and there, but even he was not consistent. We always go get a defensive end in free agency that never pans out. It could be part of the scheme. It could be part of the fact that they just don't perform well. And on top of the fact, we haven't scouted well as getting a pass rusher. But the Falcons have to get a pass rusher at some point in this draft. To be honest with you, they need 2. At least 2. The Falcons defense, I don't know if a lot of people know this, had 18 sacks as a team in 2021. That was the worst in the NFL. There was nobody worse than us. We played 17 games and only had 1 more sack than games that we played. That is pathetic within itself. The Falcons is not going to win any ball games in this division if they're going to have no pass rush. We literally sat there and watched teams march the field week after week after possession after possession. I'm not sure if a lot of fans keep up with the time possession ratings. The Falcons were the worst rated team in regards to time possession to an opposing offense. Teams got the ball at the 29 and would march it with ease. The Falcons had 31 minutes of possession against them combined in the season. That means if for everyone that's not your casual fan, if you're looking at the 60-minute club, if you look at a 60-minute game, the Falcons were on the field on defense over 30 minutes. That is a problem within itself. The Falcons have to get a pass rusher. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They need an impact player. And then when you look at Dean P's scheme, he runs a 3-4. We run a 5-man rush. We ran a 5-man rush last season, and plenty of times we did not get back there, which was pathetic. We didn't get back there. And that's not a good thing to see if you're the Falcons. The Falcons have to address getting a pass rusher or 2. We did go sign Lorenzo Carter, who had 5 sacks for the New York Giants, former UGA Bulldog. I'm a big fan of Lorenzo Carter. I hope he fares well here in Atlanta. But to me, the Falcons have to look at a young impact player immediately. And there's so much depth throughout the draft that you have to sit here and consider taking one early. Let me go to the comments. Buddy, what's going on, bro? He said, be on the lookout for my guy, Taquan, number 95, about to be in the second year. He's been working on this offseason. Hopefully, he can bring something to the table for you guys. I know him personally. He's a hard worker, so we'll see. I like Taquan Graham, too. I feel like the Falcons have potential on their defensive line, depending on how they rotate them in season 2. Because Taquan Graham was decent for us last season, and so was Adonijay, the other defensive end. At this point, the Falcons definitely have to have some production from that defensive line. Let me go to the rest of the comments. Byron said in the first 2 rounds, got to go defense. I would personally consider going defense the first 2 rounds, just to be honest. To me, you got to rebuild. You got to rebuild that defense in any way possible. Darrell says, send Deion Jones back to the draft. Send Deion Jones back through the draft and send him back to LSU to develop some more. Man, for the LSU linebacker group to have such production, to be so well with Devin White and all those guys, he came out strong. He's just haven't been the same in the last 3 years. And hopefully they're giving him another chance, but if not, then they need to go ahead and get rid of him. But me personally, I think Deion Jones needs to be a outside linebacker. He does not need to be a middle linebacker. He don't need to play in that middle. It's not for him. He misses a lot of tackles. But again, like I said, the Falcons have to consider getting a pass rusher or multiple pass rushers. I'm not against that. If they look at the first 2 rounds and say, we're going to go get 2 or 3 pass rushers, I'm for it. Because you don't have talent on your defensive line outside of Grady Jarrett. And if I'm going to be honest, I don't know if Grady Jarrett's going to be a Falcon in 2022. He's on the team now, but I still could see the way that things have been going. He could be a potential casualty to the rebuild as well, which me personally, I would trade Grady Jarrett. That's just my personal opinion. I love Grady Jarrett, but I don't feel that a 29-year-old Pro Bowl pass rusher should be stuck on a rebuilding ball club. That's just me. He's given us a lot of great years in the Falcons to get a lot of capital for him. That's just my thoughts on that. If he's here, cool. I'm going to be rooting him on every week in and week out. But if they move on from him, I totally understand. Next need, as I said, quarterback. The reason I'm not making this the number 1 need is because we brought in Marcus Mariota, who was under Arthur Smith's scheme. I feel that he's going to have a decent year. He just have to stay healthy. But for me, the Falcons don't need to go completely locked in on saying we need a quarterback at 8. If they do it, fine. But it has to be Malik Willis. I don't want Kenny Pickett. I don't want a second rounder in Sam Howell. There's only 2 quarterbacks that I would really want out of this class right here, because I'm not a fan of this class, if I'm going to be honest with you guys. The only 2 quarterbacks that I personally like in this class from top to bottom is Malik Willis and Cincinnati quarterback Desmond Ridder. Those are the only 2 guys that I'm a fan of in this class. I'm not sold on Kenny Pickett. I'm definitely not sold on Matt Corral. I'm absolutely not sold on Sam Howell. I think he's going to be the next Mitch Trubisky. No disrespect to Steelers fans that are watching, but I'm not a fan of those guys. I feel that 2023's class is going to have the quarterbacks. So, but again, the Falcons, you moved on from Matt Ryan. So you have to start looking at your long-term plan. Do I think they get the long-term option in Mariota right now? No. But they have to consider getting a pass rusher, a quarterback at some point in either, if they don't do it in this draft, they got to do it next draft. I don't think Mariota's your future. I don't. But also for me, the Falcons don't have to force themselves to go get a quarterback this year. You can go next year. You can make it a 2-year rebuild and say, I'm going to go defense this year. And then 2023, depending on what our record is, even if the Falcons was to choose to trade up and say, hey, I like a Bryce Young, I like a CJ Stroud, I like an Anthony Richardson, those quarterbacks coming out, maybe a Caleb Williams, that's probably 24. But again, you have to start thinking for a 2 to 3 year plan. You cannot get everything in this offseason. It just cannot happen. And you don't have money. So that's another thing. Back to the comments. Jay Lee, what's up, bro? He said corner, DN, offensive linebacker, and wide receivers the rest of the draft. I would not be opposed to any of that happening in this draft. Wouldn't be. Darrell said Mariota's just a filler until next season. I totally agree with you on that 100%. I think he's a filler until next season as well. Byron Lancaster said Mariota hasn't played in a year. It's a risky pickup. Yes, it is. It's definitely a risky pickup. And that's why I feel like the Falcons, they may not take a quarterback in the first round, but I do think we may consider a quarterback on one of those second round picks on day 2. That's what I truly think is going to happen. My next need for the Atlanta Falcons, nose tackle. If we're going to be brutally honest, as I mentioned earlier, Grady Jarrett's probably going to be gone. If he is still here, you have to pay him this offseason. And if you all have forgot, the Falcons have $62 million in dead cap. It's going to be hard to pay him this year. So if I'm Terry, I'm considering where is my future with Grady Jarrett. Am I going to pay him to keep him here long term, or am I going to move on from him so I can get something for him and I can get this thing going? Because if you are paying attention to what the Atlanta Falcons have done in free agency, it's obvious what they're doing. They're giving a lot of 1-year deals out because it's really going to be a competition on this ball club. Just to be honest with you guys, it's going to be a competition in one way or another, because in a rebuilding group with a team that you don't really have a set head coach. You don't have a coach that's committed to certain players. You're going to be in this position. So I think the Falcons have a tricky situation they're going to be running into. So that's what I really think is going to happen. I do think we're going to look at a quarterback in this draft. I just think it's not going to be a top need. I also think that for nose tackle is going to be a position where there's so much depth, you can get it in the second round. Now, moving on to my next need for the Falcons. Might surprise a lot of you. Tight end. The reason that I'm saying tight end is not because of Kyle Pitts. Arthur Smith likes to run 2 tight end schemes, but that may not be a need now because I actually wrote this a couple of days ago, but we signed Tennessee's tight end Anthony Pfizer. So that could be your fill-in at tight end, which could totally eliminate the option of taking a tight end at any point in this draft. I just don't think that the Falcons are going to do it now with them signing Pfizer out of Tennessee. Let me go to the comments. Quentin said, I'll be totally fine if we draft straight defense. Me too. I'm not against it. We need everything on defense. The Falcons can make me happy by simply saying we're going to go defense this whole draft. I wouldn't be mad at them at all. My next need for the Atlanta Falcons is running back. I'm going to read to you the rushing stats. If you want to know what I'm saying, you can look it below. The Falcons rushing offense averaged 14. They had 1,451 rushing yards. That is the second worst rushing total in the league. They had 11 touchdowns. That is 6th worst in the league. They had 3.7 yards per carry. That's the 3rd worst total in the league. The Falcons got to get a running back in this draft. We went and signed Damian Williams, who I'm sure a lot of you may remember. If I'm probably in the minority, he could have probably won Super Bowl MVP for the Chiefs. He didn't win a Super Bowl. He had a great game against the 49er defense, but he was in Chicago. Cordero Patterson is your running back / receiver. You know he's going to be utilized, but that can't be your number one running back. And Mike Davis was a total bust. I'm not a fan of Mike Davis. I'm actually surprised that he is still on the roster as we speak. The Falcons got to get a running back in this draft. And they're definitely not going to sit there and consider looking into keeping that guy long term either. I think the Falcons have options like Kenneth Walker, Zamir White, Isaiah Spiller. You got several guys throughout this class, even Brian Robertson out of Alabama. You got guys that you can go pick up at some point throughout the draft. You don't have to reach for it, but you can take it. Let's see. Darius said that Mike Davis is Mike Davis was bad for us last season. He really was. And I thought he was going to have a way better year. Q said, Nate, we can have prime AP, but it wouldn't matter with their offensive line. Yes, I'm not going to disagree about our offensive line either. The line was bad last year as well. And we've been seeing them this offseason try to pick up veterans to be on a 1-year deal. We're going to see how that's going to play out. I still will not knock the Falcons at possibly taking an offensive lineman in the top 2 or 3 rounds in this draft either. That could be a potential thing that they look into as well. But I do think we got to get a running back because as much as I love Cordero Patterson, he's 31 years old. He's the same age as me. And you're only going to get older and older, and father time is going to catch you. So they have to look into getting them a running back at some point in this draft. My last need that I personally stated for us was safety. Now, we got potential. Richie Grant is a good safety. But if you look at the Falcons depth-wise, I don't trust that safety group. We got Dean Marlowe. We still got Eric Harris. The Falcons still need to look into getting a game-changing safety. If the Falcons had Kyle Hamilton fall at 8 and they took him, I'm not mad. Because we have not had I don't think we've had a ball hawking safety since. I mean, Keanu wasn't bad for us. William Moore wasn't bad for us, but we have never really just had a consistent 10-year run. It's probably been back in the day, maybe with Scott Case and those guys back in the 90s. But the Falcons just don't have that game playmaker at safety. Let me go to the comments. Q said they could. I hated they could. He was only good for picks and he got burnt a lot. But again, the Falcons to me need a above average safety at some point. I think Richie Grant has potential, and I would like to see Dean Pease get him more snaps, but we really, really, really have to look into getting us a guy in this draft at safety. There's going to be guys that's going to be available. Some guys like Daxton Hill, Lewis Seen, Smoke Monday, those guys are going to fall. So you got options midway through the draft because the Falcons have a decent amount of picks to work with. Let's see. Byron said that we should have kept Keanu Neal. No, it was time to move on from Keanu Neal, just to be honest with you. They really didn't move on from Keanu Neal. That's the truth. I like Keanu, but once he got hurt, it was never the same. But before I get into the mocks, I want to pull up the different signings that we've had so far, just as you can kind of see what I was meaning by the Atlanta Falcons are kind of prepping this team for that rebuild. Going to go to the transactions on AtlantaFalcons.com, and I'm going to come back to the main screen. So the Falcons have been in limited position in the cap, as far as cap. But if we look at this, the Falcons, outside of extending Jake Matthews, they went and signed Elijah Wilkinson, got teased to board. They re-signed Anthony Rush, who had a good year for the Falcons last year. He had a couple of good games. Colby Cassette was re-signed. Of course, as you see, the Falcons re-signed got Casey Hayward. They re-signed Isaiah Oliver. They picked up Damian Williams. They got Cordero Patterson. We got Lorenzo Carter. Eric Harris was brought back. Cordero Hodge out of Detroit. Mariota was signed. Auden Tate, the receiver out of Cincinnati, he was signed. They re-signed Quadre Allison and re-signed Dean Marlowe. As you see, the Falcons are just making a couple of moves just to kind of fill the roster out. I think it could end up becoming a competition of who starts. It's not a lot of good talent because we don't have the money to really work with, but the Falcons are showing that they want to improve the depth, the talent on the roster from last season. Darius said that Neal didn't want to be here. Byron, now he was ready. He's where he should be. He's actually in Tampa Bay now. He's got signed by them, so we're going to see him 2 times this season. We're going to be intrigued to see how Tampa deals with Keanu Neal out there. That should be an interesting thing to look at. Now, going over to the next shared screen, let me pull up the cap situation that we're looking into going into the NFL draft, which is 2 weeks and 2 days away from tomorrow. Let's look at the salary cap situation for the Falcons. As you can see, the Atlanta Falcons have $3 million of cap space. That is our current cap situation entering the draft and post the needs that we have. We got 71 guys on the roster. Of course, it's going to be cut down as we get closer to training camp. It's going to be down to 53. As you see, Grady Jarrett's contract is up, but He has a cap hit of $23.8 million this year, but Grady Jarrett dead cap is only $7 million. So the Falcons could potentially look into moving him in this spot. We still got Deion Jones with a pretty big cap hit. So is Jake Matthews, who just resigned. And as you can see, the rest of the roster kind of has a little to no major cap hit on them because there's a lot of cheap contracts, a lot of one-year deals. You can see from Zacchaeus on down, the rest of the roster kind of got like $1 million small cap hits, as you can see, getting into the other free agents like that's not Taquan Graham, like Auden Tate, Kadero Hodge. As you see, there's not a lot of big contracts on the team. They're kind of filling the roster out, as you can see. Rashawn Evans and Pfizer and Ford has not counted to the cap just yet, so we don't know what the situation is going to be when it gets closer. We'll know an update as we get ready when we do a preview the night before the draft for the Falcons one more time. But just to kind of show you guys, Calvin Ridley, of course, this cap is suspended. This is the projection of what our draft pick cap is going to be. That's $12 million that you have to account for in the draft. So as you see, the Falcons have several picks to work with. And here is the thing that the Falcons have to deal with despite moving on. Matt Ryan's cap hit, of course, of $40 million. He does count to the cap hit. Darrell said that contract to save Deion Jones. Yes, it is. He would have been gone. I'll tell anyone, Deion Jones would not be an Atlanta Falcon if it was not for that cap hit. And that I stand on that to this point of this season. But again, as you see, the dead cap hit, Matt Ryan cap hit is $40 million. We still have Julio on the cap for this season. Dante Fowler has $4.6 million in dead cap as well. And Tyler Davidson, he got cut. But it's a total of $62 million of dead cap. So the Falcons are kind of eating it up this year so they can prepare themselves for next season. But that is the situation there. Let's see, JD. Hold on. JD, what's up, bro? He said first round, Leon Sandcastle. Second round, Airbud. Darrell Racist said, who is Julio? Never heard of her. Okay, so that's the cap situation for the Falcons with 2 weeks remaining into the draft. Now, I've touched on all those things. Let's get ready to talk about what the mocks said. The recent mocks that are updated as of yesterday. Lance Zierlein of NFL Network has the Falcons taking Garrett Wilson out of Ohio State at number 8. Walter Football has the Falcons taking Ike Ekwonu at number 8. In the second round, have taken Desmond Ridder, the quarterback out of Cincinnati. Josh Pascal, the defensive end out of Kentucky. If you have not seen the tape on him, he's a really talented pass rusher. Third round, Isaiah Spiller out of Texas A&M. And also third round, John Mechie out of Alabama. Those are the Walter Football projections. CBS Sports' Ryan Wilson has the Falcons also taking Garrett Wilson at number 8. Second round, I would not like this pick. He has to take Sam Howell out of North Carolina. He has taken Darian Kennard out of Kentucky as well. Third round, Kingsley Enagbare out of South Carolina is the third round pick. And then Myji Sanders out of Cincinnati. They were both talented defensive ends. I wouldn't be opposed to that. Darrell said, I like Pascal, but not at 8. Oh, no. They have him going like at the late second round. Tevin, what's going on, bro? He said just getting a chance to check it out. Hey, man, never too late. And he said, Fitz and G. Yes, sir. That's exactly the storyline of the 2022 Atlanta Falcons. Chris Trapasso has Malik Willis going at 8 to the Falcons. Josh Edwards have Garrett Wilson going at 8 to the Falcons. Pete Prisco has Kenny Pickett going at 8 to the Falcons. And Kyle Stackpole has the Falcons taking Garrett Wilson as well. So those are the mocks for those guys. Now, as I stated before the stream even started, I'm going to do my mock live draft with you guys right now. So you're going to get a chance to see me pick a live mock. Again, if you have mock drafts that you want to have shown on this stream, please be doing it, sending it to me, because the 26th, I'm going to do a stream talking about the last preparations for the Falcons going into the draft. But let me get ready to pull this simulator up. If you want to do a simulator yourself, go to Pro Football NFL Mock Draft Simulator. It's a great thing to use. I like it out. I'll test it out several times throughout the week. I'm going to be doing it for every team anyway. So let's get ready to pull it up. All right, as you see, this is the mock board for the simulator. This is how I can look at all 7 rounds. I'm going to go ahead and do my guys. Of course, we're going to do the Atlanta Falcons at number 8. Let's get this out your way. So 7. So, of course, I'm going to go to 7 rounds. All right, let's get started. I'm not doing no trades. I'm going to do a straight up pick. So we're going to get to number 8. Let's see who's on the board for me. If we were in this spot, if I'm the Atlanta Falcons, because I feel that if he falls at number 8, I'm taking Trayvon Walker. That's just my personal opinion. If he falls at number 8, I'm taking Trayvon Walker because he was there on the board. That's the reason I took him. And let's go to the second round. I feel like the Falcons, as you can see, I possibly, if I was Atlanta, I might double up at this spot. But then again, you kind of need to get you a quarterback. This is a tricky spot because if I'm the Falcons, I may double up here. So if I was to consider doubling up at D-line, I'm probably I'm just looking around the board to see who's out here at number. This is tricky, guys. I don't know. Because I said that I feel like the Falcons possibly may consider a quarterback at this point. Let's see, is Desmond Ridder going? Oh, God. No, I'm going to go pass rusher. As you guys see, I'm definitely not going to go in that direction. We're going to go with all. So just to show you guys kind of what I'm looking at as well. Let's see who's on the board. I probably would go Nick Bonito here because you cannot go wrong you can't go wrong there. Let's go to the next pick of this class. Now that I've gotten those 2, let's see who's available. Now here is a tricky one because I kind of want the Falcons to go wide receiver. And if I'm the Atlanta Falcons, let's look at this board. I make it go get me a receiver in this 3rd round. I'm going to take Abraham Lucas out of Washington State. We need a tackle. So we're going to come back now to the 3rd round. Now I'm going to be looking at possibly getting me a running back. I was talking about it earlier. Let's see who's on the board. Dameon Pierce is not a bad option. I possibly would take him here. But let's see, looking at this group, I'm going to probably take since I kind of went and ignored the issue of taking a running back, so I'm going to hold off again. I'm going to wait. Let me remove running back. Let me get it off to here. Okay, at wide receiver, I'm going to probably take Justin Ross out of Clemson. And now since the Falcons have 2 picks back-to-back, now I'm going to probably address the running back position. I still think I'm kind of reaching. This is tricky when you're actually doing a live draft. So the Falcons will go several options here. But since I said we need a quarterback, I'm going to take Bailey Zapp out of Western Kentucky. I'm going to go ahead and get us a quarterback at this point. Now moving into the 4th round, now I'm going to look into possibly taking me a running back here because I totally ignored giving me a running back. And Brian Robinson is sitting on the board in the 4th round. I'm going to take him here. Now coming back, we have a couple options here at linebacker. I said that we really need to look into a safety at this point in the draft. Just scrolling down the board, I'm going to take Justin Saver out of UGA because we need a guard. And that would, to me, give us 2 key pieces on the offensive line. Again, like I'm going based off what's left on the board. So let's go to the rest of the board. There are several positions I can go here. Let's see. I can't see the comments right now, so I'm gonna have to look at the comments. I want to take Adam Anderson here, but of course, I don't know what that legal situation is going to be like in regards to his situation. So let's go to. Let me get kind of specific and go look at the situation at possibly corner. Let me pull this down so I can show you guys what I'm looking at, or maybe even I may even look at a linebacker here. Because I don't think I've addressed the linebacker issue. There's a couple of good options here, but I'm gonna pass. I'm gonna pass on linebacker for the moment. Again, like I said, if you guys have mocks, I know I had a couple of you guys do it. I just haven't shown it. Let's go look at corner. I love Jacoby Durant out of South Carolina State. I would possibly take him in the 5th here. So I went and got me a corner. Now I'm going to possibly look at taking me a wide receiver. I've already took one, but you can double up at this point in the draft. Let's see who's on the board. You got guys like Charleston Rambo, Slade Bolden. I don't think Slade Bolden's coming out. I'm going to pass on this. Look at this. These options are terrible at wide receiver. I would rather get a receiver after the draft if that's going to be your options. Now I'm going to go look at a safety. I said we needed safety help. I don't really like this safety depth at this point of the draft. Let's go over to defensive. Let's go into the line. I'm going to take that off the board. Let's see. You got TJ Wright, DJ Dell. Thomas Booker's still sitting out here. That's awesome. I will take a Thomas Booker here. That's giving me another piece at defense in the defensive line. I think I have one more pick to make, and I'll probably take a safety with that last pick. Well, that was it. So I'm sure I'm not going to get the best grade probably from Pro Football Focus, considering what was left in the draft at that point. Okay, so they gave me a B. Cool. So as you see, my mock was taking Trayvon Walker at number 8. I took Nick Bonito at number 43 to address our offensive line. Defensive line. I addressed the O-line by taking Abraham Lucas out of Washington State to battle with Caleb McGarry for that right tackle spot. I think he would beat him out. I did go get us a wide receiver in Justin Ross in the 3rd round. I went and took Bailey Zapp. He may not be the best option to everybody, but Bailey Zapp tore it up at Western Kentucky. He don't have a lot of tape on him right now. I got us a running back in Brian Robinson Jr. out of Alabama. That's my pick there. I went and got Justin Schaefer out of UGA. He kind of slipped in that 5th round. I picked up Jacoby Durant. He's going to be a very talented corner in this league. I hope he balls out. And then Thomas Booker out of Stanford, very underrated defensive lineman that I think could really be productive for the Falcons. So this is my mock of now. I got a B for it. Let's see, Pro Football Focus. That's what their outlook was on it, and that's what I did. So that's my mock for today. Again, let me go to the comments. Hey, I want to see you guys' comments what I did. Okay, Nick Green said it's not a bad. What's up, bro? He said it's not a bad kick. Okay, I appreciate that. Tevin said I love Zach mock. I love Zach and Ross in your mock big sleepers. Yes, they are. I think a lot of people do not know a lot about these guys as well. Darrell said he loves the Justin Ross pick. I appreciate that. Reggie, what's up, bro? He said walk out of Michigan. I wanted to pick him. I was actually looking for him, but I passed up to go get another defensive end. I think at that point. Tevin said the same thing about Walker, the best running back in the draft. I do agree. Nick said if Thomas Booker fought it low, that'd be great. Yes, it would be. And I think somebody would get a sleeper. Goat Man Reggie said Atlanta Falcons hired Nate the Great. Thank you, bro. I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. But that is my mock for now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you tuning in to the stream. Thursday, I'll be back on here talking about the Seattle Seahawks and the Washington football team. I'm going to have my boy Devon back with me because we're going to talk about his boys. But I had to cover these Atlanta Falcons. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Again, if you're on YouTube, subscribe, share this stream, share this with everyone that you know. I'm gonna keep it going up until we get to the draft, and then draft night, of course, we're gonna do a big stream that night as well. But again, this has been my Atlanta Falcons. Just don't miss in this draft, guys. That's all I want. Don't miss in this draft. I can't take no more misses in the draft, basically. But until Thursday, you guys have a good night. Enjoy the NBA play-in that just started in maybe a few minutes. I think it's already going on right now. But again, enjoy your night. Have a good day. And thank you for tuning us all in with Nate.